It just seems like something that has been missed. Go figure, something that's been like under talked about in the women's health field.
Yeah.
But like, I want to know how many egos I got. Are they producing strong, healthy? Like, what can I do to feel better? What can I skip in my early 20s so that I have a better chance at getting healthier eggs?
I just think having these conversations are so important. The more that we can talk about and share and normalize is so huge. And
Amen.
so we're so thrilled to have you here and in person, which is so fun. I guess we can start. I'd love to start with just your decision making, because you're very transparent, you're very open, which is amazing.
Yes.
And one of the things that you shared is that you didn't think that you didn't.
I still today don't want kids, which is very confusing for people.
Yeah.
They're like, then what is this? All the comments when I started posting about this, people are like, what the hell happened to you?
Like,
they were like, Mrs. I never want a kid, Miss Independent, Miss, and I had like a big wake up call with the idea of children when I got sober. So I used to be sort of known as like the internet's party girl, alcoholic.
Okay.
Like drinking was my brand.
You're our third guest, sorry to cut you off, that has a journey of sobriety.
Oh, See, maybe there's something to this, like, wake up, come to thyself.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm looking at Shelly, but like, earlier today, we had someone same journey of
That's
sobriety.
it's clarity. It's like a big, what matters to you, like the self-inventory is what they call it in AA. I don't do AA, but that's what I've heard over and over again, is like this searching moral inventory of yourself and what you want and things like that. And the biggest like, whoa moment I had was when I got sober. Even I didn't believe it, because I never
you had gotten sober. You didn't believe it.
Never I would have bet all the money in my bank account, my parents' bank account, everyone's bank account. I knew that I would never stop drinking. And then I did. I was really good at drinking. Like, most successful I've ever been, most money I've ever made. Like, nothing was going to give me a rock bottom.
Wow.
I almost felt limitless. And so it became a thing where I just kept realizing with myself that nothing was going to stop me except me. Like,
wow.
I wasn't ever getting in accidents. I was never getting
like
pulled over.
No
like drama with my friends or my partners, like no erratic spending or like falling down. I was just really good at it. And so when I was able to quit, it was a really powerful moment of like, I can really do anything now.
Yeah.
And so once I had that realization of, I always said I was never going to quit drinking, and then I did. And then there were times where I was like, I never ever in a million years thought I was going to be someone that goes to the gym and exercises or does yoga. And now I go every day.
Wow.
And there was just so many little things I started to see during sobriety, like changing my eating habits or like the type of people I surround myself with, that I was like, I should never say never anymore.
I was just like, as you're talking, that's the saying I'm thinking, never say never.
Yeah. And I just went, you know what? Having kids is the only thing that I could think of that has the time limit on
That's
it.
why it's like quiet the clock. the
Exactly.
Clock,
Shut up. Right? Shut up, clock. And my mom had a really hard time getting pregnant.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She likes to call it like a flat tube that she had to get rotor rooted out, she always says. And so I knew my family always had a history with that, and that I'm prone to cysts too.
Okay.
And I had like HPV. I had to get a LEEP procedure. Like, I've always just had major pussy problems.
Yeah.
And so when the thought occurred to me, like, go get your egos checked, I better go just see what's up. The doctor was like, yeah, you're fine, but you're in your 30s now, I would consider freezing.
Now, had you ever thought, like, probably never thought about freezing? Did you know anyone that had
Every one of my girlfriends has done it.
Okay.
They all have eggs on ice or babies on ice.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, but I was like, you guys are crazy to spend all that money and do all that.
Well, that's the real deal. It's expensive.
And I never understood why people did it. And then once I got into the world, I completely am like now the biggest advocate.
Which I love that you're out there and talking about it. So tell me, like, what did you feel when the doctor said that? Because here you are thinking, okay, never say never. I'm going to get this checked, but like I didn't consider this, and now, which I think is amazing. I don't know. I guess people feel different ways about it. I think it's amazing that the doctor gave you that information because I've spoken to so many women. It's like I saw so many OBs and no one ever said anything to me or said, hey, have you thought about this? So I think that's like, I want to hear how you felt about that, but I think that's great that your doctor did that.
I love my gyno. She is, shout out Taz Varkey, what up, in Culver City. She's amazing if you ever need a new gyno. But she's the type of doctor that we were talking off air about where like she sits and she doesn't care how long it takes.
I love that.
She will explain everything to you. When she comes in, she rereads your chart out loud to you so that you guys can go over different things. Yeah, she's just amazing. She also like found a lump in my breast recently and like got me in the next day for a scan. Everything was fine. It ended up being like they call it like a complicated tumor or a complicated cyst. What does that mean? And I was like, fucking, this is rude. And like, what do you mean? But it ends up being really dense tissue, especially women with small chests have this. So, but she's just incredible. Very,
just so huge.
Education forward. And, you know, egg freezing is a bit of a privilege. Like it is not something everyone can do. So I think she knows me. She knows like my status. Like she just knows me as a person to be able to know she could say something like that.
Which is great. That speaks to the relationship that you have with her. Yeah.
And then I ended up meeting one of my best friends has a friend who moved here from Chicago to become a C-suite position at a fertility clinic.
Oh, wow.
And we met at a barbecue and I just hounded him.
Oh, a barbecue?
Yeah. I was like, wait a second, like a barbecue. We were in line trying to buy Barbies. You know, those things super hot right now. Oh, no, he's a gay man. And like, I just immediately flocked to him and I was like, tell me everything about egg freezing. And he was like, why don't you come into the clinic and like, I'll give you a tour. You can look at all the sperm under the microscope.
This where you ended up freezing? And this is how you found the place? Because that was one of my questions is how did you choose where you froze?
Well, I had no shortage of places with how many of my friends have done it and loved it, had a great experience. But there was just something about, they're called Pacific Fertility Center of Los Angeles, PFCLA. And when I went in, it was just, it felt right. Like they care about your comfort. They care about your knowledge. They're very queer friendly. They don't care about your relationship status. They're very diverse. Like I
love that.
Yeah. And you know, my Dr. Vic Sahakian, shout out Vic.
Oh my God. Like, you're so funny on your videos. Cause you're like, here's my hot doctor.
He's so hot and he's single. I literally text him all the time. I'm like, here's a girlfriend of mine. Will you take her out for a date? Like we are homies.
Yeah.
And it just felt instantly right.
Yeah.
And that's like my biggest thing I say to people.
I think that's so important. I was sharing with you, I guess we caught some of it on camera, like my experience. And it's so funny that you're saying that because I remember walking in, I think towards the end of my transfer, and I literally inside said to myself, I hate this place. Literally.
Oh. I hate that for you.
I know.
What do we do? What can we do?
Well, and this is why like these conversations are so important. So I love that you said you had this feeling because I think that's it. You have to have that feeling. You have to feel safe. You have to feel comfortable. I love that they prioritize that. And if you don't feel that way, you got to go somewhere else.
You've got to go.
Yeah.
Like it was literally down to the details of like the soap.
Oh my God. Same shit. I would go into their bathroom like, this is disgusting.
Oh my God. No, they had like Aesop soap. Their little jerk off rooms looked like miniature hotels.
Oh my God, like great.
They just knew what they were doing. And we had talked about this off camera too, but every one of these places has to run such a tight ship.
Yeah.
They got literally they're on timed cycles with human beings.
Yeah.
And even though it felt like a tightly run ship, I felt like they saw me as a person. And
it's amazing. Like you can do both. You can,
it exists.
Yes.
And so that's like my biggest thing when talking about people who want to do it. But now I also just tell anyone that exists around the age of like 27 to 35. I'm like, have you gotten your eggs frozen yet?
Isn't that, you have to pay it forward.
About it? Yeah. So it very quickly to me became a no-brainer of let's freeze eggs at least.
Yeah. So you go in, you feel really comfortable. Like what was the consult like? Like getting all the information, learning about this, probably learning, I know for me, learning so much. also being like, oh my God, I didn't know any of this. Like, how didn't I know of it? So what was that like for you?
So Dr. Zahakian sat me down in his office and no joke, gave me like a 15-minute like drawing presentation where he was like, this is how eggs work every month. And I'm like, tell me why I have had a pussy 33 years.
And don't know this.
And didn't know some of this shit.
I never learned this.
You lose half your eggs before you hit puberty.
I know.
The hell? Nobody tells you that.
That's like the big, like nobody told, that's like the, one of the biggest narratives. Like nobody told me that.
And like, even if you hear like, oh, you're getting old and like, they make it sound so terrible. Like you're losing, like your pussy's
geriatric.
Yeah. And I'm like, first of all, aging is a privilege. I can't wait to get older. It means I'm alive and still
I feel great. I'm 42. I feel
also,
great.
Like hot as shit, bitch. You're thriving. Look at you in this like house with this podcast, like goals. But like truly, it just seems like it's supposed to be this like awful, sad process.
Yeah.
And like, while it can be devastating and emotional, it can also be such an amazing, wonderful experience.
Yeah. And I think that and I know I keep saying this, but like the information is power. Like I froze at 37. I didn't know I knew one person that did it. There were no conversations like this. There were no podcasts. Wow. There was like, so when I was doing it, it didn't feel like a choice. It felt like I have to, like I'm running out of time. I'm 37. Like, I'm all, and there's so much more we know and understand that like age is not the only determining factor of success. Yeah. But I think from that place for me, it was sad. For me, it was sad. But I think when you can be proactive about the choice.
Yes.
And it can feel great and empowering. Yes.
Jinx.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing, right? Too, is like, I identify as bisexual. I'm non-monogamous. So like traditional white picket fence, mom and dad, like does not compute with me.
Yeah.
Like that's not my goal. I was raised by a mom and a dad who are still together, had a really hard time with a fertility journey. But like nothing about what my lifestyle is like is traditional.
Yeah.
And so I knew that I've already dealt with unique and not normal, quote unquote, scenarios of lifestyle choices. So when thinking about having a family, I never pictured anything, quote unquote, normal either.
Yeah.
So it was really important for me to like know I had choices and feel really empowered and learn about it so that I can go in confidently so that I'm not surprised, right? Because that's the biggest thing.
Happens too. Like women get to this age and then they're like
shocked.
And like it's for some, it's like too late. Or they have fertility issues they didn't know about because they didn't end up at a clinic or a doctor soon enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's so amazing to know and to go sooner. And I love that you said like telling the 27-year-old, like, have you thought about it? I think about doing it.
It just seems like something that has been missed. Go figure, something that's been like under talked about in the women's health field.
Yeah.
But like, I want to know how many egos I got. Are they producing strong, healthy? Like, what can I do to feel better? What can I skip in my early 20s so that I have a better chance at getting healthier eggs? Like, I drank so much. I wish I would have chilled out on the booze back then.
Too. Yeah.
Having a better diet or like
because all that stuff matters. And I'm learning so much. We've had amazing fertility nutritionists on here and all of these things that you can do for egg quality and like taking care of yourself.
Yes.
And then they have the like, dual benefit of like you feel good, but also you're helping your egg quality and your fertility. But again, we didn't know any of this.
No. And I love like they always say at the office, which they always remind me is like, it just takes one.
Yeah.
Like, because I am so numbers and data.
That's what I wanted to ask you too. Okay. So you've done one round.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I went in to go get my consultation and things and they checked my eggs and they were like 14. Great number. Let's start your meds on this date, blah, 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 blah. Well, I go in the next time and I'm getting, you go in multiple times to get checked, make sure the eggs are growing, everything looks good, tinker with medication. And the next time they go in, they go, okay, you have 6 on your right as usual. We can't see any on your left. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't see them? Are they hiding?
What are they doing?
And he was like, sometimes they're really up there and I don't want to go
all the way
in and poke things around. Like if they were there before, we have to assume we'll find them day of when we can really go in with the thing. Very medical professional terms over here, your thing. And so went in again for my next checkup. We only see 6. we go for the day of the retrieval. And I go under thinking I'm going to come out with around 14.
Yeah.
And, you know, my good friend who works at the fertility clinic, you know, was there when I woke up and he says, we got 6. And he said it with this like, we got 6. And I went, bitch, 6.
I know the numbers the numbers are a mind fuck.
And there was none on the left side. And I thought it was unique because my mom's flattened tube fallopian problem was left as well.
Oh.
And whether or not, like, you know, there's something to do with that, you know, genetically, there is some part of genetics that determine the quality and quantity, but also just like your uterine health, it can be genetic. So even if you have amazing eggs, if you have PCOS or fibroids or cysts or
also like stuff we hadn't learned about.
Or a long cervix or a short, like there's so many things that can affect it. So we came out with 6 with the first one, and the doctor, Dr. Vic, my homie, was like, we should do it again and we should just go straight to embryos, which I was like, huh? What?
Yeah. How did you, I mean, what were the emotions around, you know, hearing 6, maybe not anticipating doing it more than once and now having to think about going through it all again? Like, what was that like?
So I had a relatively positive experience with the process of taking meds and the hormones going through the first retrieval, except for afterwards.
Okay.
So after I had the retrieval, I felt everything. Like it felt like my body was being depleted of all the hormones and the juice and the good stuff. And then I went through a insane breakup.
Oh, stop it.
So
rain to pours.
Rain to pours. I mean, I was emotionally like a mess. And I decided I was going to take a break before doing another round.
Okay,
because
that was another question I had for you. Like, what was, if there was time, because I think that's so smart. And even for my own experience, and my impatience, like, was such a disservice to me, because I was like, I want to do it. I want to get done. And, you know, my journey's a little different in that, like, I was older and I was I was clear on what I wanted and all the things. And so I was impatient. I wasn't ready emotionally. I just needed more time, and I pushed it and it wasn't successful. And so then I did take that time after. So I think it's so important to be in tune with like where you're at emotionally, physically.
Oh, for sure.
Like, because
work, stress,
family
like, stuff, holidays.
Yeah, because it's like all the stress obviously is a factor, and it's a very, you know, even if it goes relatively well, it's still a lot.
You're still injecting yourself.
I know. And I love that you shared too, like where you've done all your shots. And like, when I was freezing my eggs, so Rob, my partner, we were still together, a son together, but we froze at 37, and I was like ready to do the embryos and have the baby, and he wasn't there yet. And so I was so angry about that. And my therapist at the time was like, because I'm like, fuck him, I'm going to do all this by myself, all the shots myself.
Oh, God.
She's like, maybe you should let him be involved. I'm like, oh, yeah, probably. So I was really happy I did listen to her. But at first I was like, I don't want him any part of this.
Yeah.
But we had a funny story, Shelly and I over there, Shelly.
Hey, Shelly.
We have a very good friend of ours who's a country singer in Nashville, and she was up in New York doing a show. And, you know, you have to do the shots at the same time every night, whatever. I was like, well, I'm not missing this. Like, every time she comes to New York, I'm going. So Rob and I are in the back of like this rental car. I forgot why we had the rental car. And all these people were walking by us, and we're like shooting up the needle. And I'm like, oh my God, what if someone thinks we're like,
I could not imagine being a shy person doing this,
because you're just like,
I was literally in a group. Have you ever been to like a concert or a festival where they have the nice porta potties where it's like 5 in one?
Yeah.
So there's like a little sink lobby area. I was in one of those doing my first time shots.
It was your first?
My first time doing shots.
That's brave.
Nipple butterfly glitter pasty stickers on my tits, pulled down my overalls, and I'm mixing up this juice, and women are just walking through.
No, they're probably like, freezing your eggs.
The first thing I would do is I'd go, I'm not doing drugs. And they would go, egg freezing.
I know.
And I was like,
oh my God. So I had my team dinner a couple weekends ago, and I'm doing the progesterone shot still. And I go down to the bathroom, and the bathroom attendant's in there. I'm like, I'm going through IVF. Like I had to like
explain
it.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, it's fine. Cause I also was like, I'm not shooting up here.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I travel with my little medical note that they gave me because when I went through, I had to do it on a plane at one point. Cause same thing.
Same. Yeah. So travel out here.
Guess what? I didn't even go to the bathroom to do it. I did it in my fucking seat. I said, I don't give a shit. I'm tired. I just went and spoke at a conference. Like, I'm not going in that little tiny
forget it.
Turbulent bathroom. I just opened up my tray table.
Well, that's so funny because same. I was originally supposed to land 7:00, which I would have had to do it on the plane, but we came in an hour early. I'm like, sweet, nice. I can do it. So I booked off the plane and did it in the bathroom. Yes. I was like, shoot. Yeah.
I've just had like a new awakening and awareness of like women going through IVF and the true struggle it is because it is not easy. Like you said, even if you're having a gay old dandy time and the hormones aren't affecting you the way that, I was lucky enough to have them not affect me so much, it is still like your cortisol is still shooting up when you're having to literally shoot yourself up.
Yeah.
Like you're bloated as hell. You're cramping. Like your acne is everywhere. You're tired. You're hungry. You're horny as hell. Did you get horny?
You know what? I don't remember now. I think I was too angry to be horny, to be honest.
Maybe that was your symptom, was the anger. Like, I am so horny and you can't do anything. You can't scramble those egos around.
I know.
So I'm like, even in my best mood, I'm still like, So having that support system, I think is huge. Yeah. And if you're single, like get your girls to come over, like have a pal come by. But it has just been, even in the best, it's still been a process. So when I knew I wanted to do it again, because I knew I wanted to, because I knew the statistics of only having 6 eggs.
I know the number.
How many survive the thaw, how many survive implantation, all that shit. You're basically walking away with like 1 egg, hopefully. Hopefully. And of course you are seeing all these videos and things about girls getting 20 eggs. And
I know. Like, so we usually it's the numbers are tough because and I think it's so many ways that like comparative piece comes up, whether it's at egg freezing or life or like someone's in a relationship and you're not in a relationship. And it's like, and now social media, it's like you can just compare to everything all the time.
Compare and despair. Yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's what I always remind myself. It's like you can be the most fit, happy, whatever person and still walk away with no eggs. Yeah. Which is, I've seen it happen. Yeah. So I try to remember that it's like so out of my control to a degree, which is, I think, also a product of being in the industry and like having rejections all the time or like having people comment on your body all the time. Like I just have built up this really thick skin and I couldn't fucking imagine being someone that like desperately wants a child and is like fighting to have that motherhood. Like I feel very privileged and lucky to be emotionally in the like, let's see what we can know.
I mean, I think when I was sharing with you up until my recent, the first transfer didn't work, like relatively successful fertility journey and my, the emotional piece and like trying to align with my partner, that was all really hard. But, comparatively, I was successful. I first at 37, I got a nice amount of eggs that I was happy with, got pregnant naturally at 39. So like all had gone well. Yeah. And then, but I was also, that was my expectation going into the transfer. And I was all along the way, I was in the desperation state. Like I wanted to be pregnant. I wanted a kid. And like, so that really, so I think it's just how do you take care of yourself in that way? Because if you are there, it's just, it can be rock bottom.
Can I ask questions about that?
Yes, please ask questions. Okay. The last guest asked me a question. I was like, yes.
Okay. I can't help it. I have 2 podcasts, so I'm used to being on your side of things. So like the fact that I'm just like, it's
I love
crazy.
being on that side. So
my God. Away. I am a Leo, so it does, I get a little ego stroke talking about myself. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So when you were doing the embryo this time, like you told me you had 2 boys and 3 girls. Yes. You chose the healthiest boy. And I like how you're phrasing it like it didn't work because it feels very like it just didn't work. Yeah. And that's the odds you take. Yeah. But I know that it probably emotionally was a different or maybe not. But can you walk me through like the process of figuring out it didn't work? Because the only time I've seen the embryo implantation was on American Horror Story.
Oh my gosh, really?
Have you watched this season?
Someone just asked me about that show. I haven't watched it.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I watched it just because of what they're focusing on.
It's all about egg freezing fertility.
I have to watch it.
Oh my God, you're going to get so much content on this.
Okay.
You should, free TikTok idea. You do a series about like busting the myths or like breaking down the scenes of American Horror Story. Free idea. But like, I only saw her like horrific experience with an implantation fail. So can you walk me through like what that means and like where emotionally are you like, okay, this is a cluster of cells versus like, okay, I have a baby now versus don't get your hopes up. Like, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. I don't mind at all. I think I was less, I think it's so hard when it is a cluster of cells, but you're attached to the idea of like, I'm ready to have this baby. And you're I'll speak for me. I was attached to this idea of like, okay, I could be pregnant now and and this time it'll be here and like just sort of planning for it happening and not even thinking that it wouldn't work.
Wow.
And I don't know why I went in like that. Maybe because I guess I had, been successful or things had gone well. So I had friends that had been through it. Oh, so this is this was a mistake of mine also. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. My sister knew, Rob knew, and that was it. And I have a very best friend who had been through it. I know other women have been through it. And I still don't understand why I made that choice. It was such a mistake because after it failed, I started telling everybody and that just felt so cathartic. And I told everybody this time around. So my friend that was doing it, she took a pregnancy. So you implant and then 9 days later you do.
9?
Yeah, the wait is like hell.
Oh my God.
I
feel like in American Horror Story, it was like the next day or something, or like 2 days later.
Myth bust.
Yeah. Oh my God, 9 days.
9 days.
Did you just like lay in?
Well, that's the thing too, because you're like, I have a toddler and like, do I pick him up? Do I not pick him up? What can I do? What can't I do? Like I did nothing. I didn't work out. Like you're just like, crazy. I haven't worked out since my transfer.
Oh my God.
I'm waiting for Monday and hopefully it's like everything is good and I want to like get back to my workouts. So you have to wait the 9 days. And what my friend did was she took a pregnancy test before the 9th day and it was positive.
Oh, fuck.
So I was like going back and forth between, do I take the test before the blood work? What do I do? And the day I could have taken the blood test was Thanksgiving. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it on Thanksgiving because...
It's Thanksgiving!
God, I didn't. Oh my God. So then I went the Friday after Thanksgiving, I drove to the city. I did the blood work. I came back from the city and Rob wasn't home yet because we'd stayed at his parents. So I left really early in the morning to get to the city to do the blood work. He was coming home with our son. I took the pregnancy test.
Oh, girl.
And it was negative. Oh. And I just fell to the floor, like hysterical. I was hysterical.
It makes me sad thinking about it.
It was sad.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I literally, my leg hair's going back right now because I have the chilies.
But it was really, really sad. But I was like, okay, like now I've lived this. Now I can talk about this. Now I can share this with other women. And I'm going to do a whole episode and go more into depth about it and my experience and what I learned and what I did.
How common it is.
Yeah, and how common it is. And it gave me such a huge appreciation. And I'm always sympathetic, but like the women that get like failure after failure, I was like, this was only one bad like hurdle, or roadblock. So it was really, I think it was meant to happen that way.
Yeah.
But it's really emotional, because you're just hoping and you're wanting. And if you're going through that process, you've decided you want this. So,
yeah. And how long did you wait to do again?
I did it probably like not the next cycle, the cycle after.
Okay, so you took a little break, skis.
I took a break.
You're like, everybody chill.
So the other thing, I didn't know I would be talking about myself, but okay, we're here.
Here we are. I'm digging it. It's teaching me.
No, I'm happy.
Yeah, you're educating me. I love
it. The other thing was, again, like I was saying, my impatience. So I was... and I haven't talked about this yet either, but here we go.
Exclusive.
This is exclusive.
Oh my gosh.
Scoop right
I'm
now.
Ready.
I started working with this woman who's so freaking incredible, and I started to microdose. And it was like she does this very therapeutic...
Shrooms?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was working with her before my first transfer, and I love her. And I don't know, I guess I'm biased as a therapist. I was having a hard time. Like, I fired so many therapists.
Oh, wow.
But then I found her, and she was like so great, and... She said to me before my first transfer, she's like, I think you should do a tea experience before you do the transfer because I think there's some stuff you need to like unblock and clear out. And I was like, but I was like 2 days away from probably starting. And I was like, and I didn't want to wait.
Damn.
So between the two, the first that didn't work and the second I did the two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. Now it's just like, mushroom. Like they should be approved. We should be using that. Like I'm a big advocate for that.
Yeah.
But I'm on too many SSRIs to have a successful trip. But I am so
It was my first time. I never did drugs when I was younger. I now drink, but like I was an athlete. I wasn't interested. It wasn't that like, I just didn't have any interest in it. And so this was like all very new to me and I loved it. I'm going to do it again when I can.
Shut up. Yes. Wait, so did you do a macro dose? Like how much do you remember how much you drank?
I don't know.
Like usually it's a gram to 3 grams to 5 grams. Oh, girl, you went for a trip.
I know, but I think she was like, I think you can do more next time. I was like, all right.
Woo.
Yeah.
So you had a good time.
I did. It was really great.
Okay.
It was
really about babies or.
Yeah. Now I have all the notes on like what came up in it, but yes, I saw. I guess the same thing was like tripped me out too. I saw a second. But I couldn't tell a boy or girl in the trip. So I did see another.
Ooh, and then you didn't know he was pregnant. Oh my God. Yeah. Like I feel like that woman must be like.
She's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I was like, I realized, hindsight 2020, but I realized like I should have just like be like in a place where you're emotionally, mentally, physically feeling good. I think is so important going into it, whether it's egg freezing or it's embryos, it's just so much. So to get yourself in a good place is important.
Which sucks because then it's also like you're also competing against this clock.
Exactly.
Which like I had a friend who was doing it right during the pandemic.
Oh God.
And when I tell you I am the most pro get vaccinated, we love vaccines. I got vaccinated and didn't get my period for 8 months.
What?
And I messaged my gyno and she was saying that this is happening to clients and that people aren't just talking about it. And I went to Reddit, I went to Twitter, I went to TikTok, and there were a slew of women.
Same experience.
Delayed period 3-4 months. Some people a year didn't get their period after getting my. And I still got my second and third dose, but it was like, oh my gosh, that was gnarly. Well, little did I know, one of my very good friends, the same thing happened where she got vaccinated. God, this is gonna end up on the wrong side of TikTok. So I am very pro vaccination, you fucking weirdos. Okay, get vaccinated. Yeah, yeah. But like things, let's just say stress threw off her period, and like she was right in the middle of doing it. She had to do I think 4 cycles.
Oh my gosh.
To get like a couple eggs.
I know, but that happens too. Like this, and then like
missing doctor's appointments because of COVID and protocols and like there was just so many factors that went on with her. And I just remember being like, okay, being in a good place in the world, in your life, in your relationship, like just having all the stars aligned, sometimes it can feel like, holy shit, there's never a good time to do it.
I just think it's like, again, like the information is so helpful because I think there's things, if you're thinking about it, you can start to put in place now to make it the best experience is possible. There's so much out of your control. There's so much you can't do, but there are a lot of things that you can do. So to have this information and just say, okay, let me put my support system in place. Yes. Maybe I see an acupuncturist. Maybe I change my diet. So there's like, while there's, I think for me, all the things that unknowns and like lack of control, some of that you just have to give up because you can't do anything about that. But then there's so many things that you can do. And
that's what I think keeps us all sane during this.
Yes. Because it can,
the feeling of control, which I'm big control girly.
Same.
It's been, and I will say having all of that knowledge going through the first time, knowing what to expect and what to think, this second time has been tougher on my body just because we're 3 days away from my retrival.
I know. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Coming up.
Yeah. I'm keeping like my schedule low key, but I was like, I can go sit on the couch and talk to a new gal pal for an hour. We've doubled all the meds.
I was going to ask, did they change the protocol?
The protocol. And of course, what happened? I went in the first day to get checked. I had 15 eggs.
Okay.
I went in the second time. I had 8.
Okay.
I went in today and I got 6. So but the good thing is it's working on both left and right side.
Okay.
So she's not flat or dead. She's still kicking, which I'm like happy about. I was expecting to get nothing out of my left side again. And I've learned so much. So I didn't get attached to that number.
Good.
I didn't know that all 15 are still in me. They're just not only 6 now have responded to the meds. So it was 8 at first were growing and getting juicy. And then only 6 passed that threshold of like 10 millimeters or whatever the size you want it to be. And so when I went this morning to go get my check and they said, 6 are ready. And they wanted to push the retrieval a day.
Okay.
They said, let's give it one more day. And I said, I have to fly.
Oh my God, that's right.
You're
going to New York
for a tour.
Yeah.
And I went, I can't. I don't have the luxury of another day.
Yeah.
And they're going, you can't change your flight. And I'm going, no, it's already last minute. And they're going, okay, well, you need to know then. You need to prepare yourself that like, what if we get immature? They called them immature eggs. And I laughed.
All the names.
I laughed right in his face. Because they would be immature as mine. But I just like mentally was like, okay, this is the reality. And I just felt more armored.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like more hard or like less sad that there were only 6, but I just felt like, okay, this is the reality of what egg freezing it feels like and what can happen. But, you know, we are doing embryos this time.
I know. We have to talk about that.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
So you'll take the last, are you going to do?
I'm going to keep 6 still frozen.
Okay. And these, and however many, we don't know yet.
Yes, and whatever we've got. I'm going to say 6. So I'm calling that into the universe. You know what?
6.
Fuck it. And so when I knew the next batch, this was going to be embryos, I had to find a fucking spermie.
Yes. Okay, wait. I want to dive right into that.
I had to find some cum. I was like checking my couch cushion. I'm like,
I love to learn that because I didn't know from watching like Instagrams like that it wasn't initially the plan to do embryos.
No.
Okay, so now they suggest embryos.
Yes.
And then, tell me the conversations with your friends. Tell me, like, did you immediately think your friend Mikey? Like, what?
Yes. So shout out to Mikey, my best friend. He's a gay man. I've known him for 15 years now. And it just happens to be that he's also my best looking friend.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
He is fucking blue eyes.
Really, yes.
He's got Native American in him. He's tan. Oh my God. He comes from an amazing family. You know, I'm obsessed with him. He's like my platonic soulmate. Love him. And I remember talking to him about this once upon a time where he had floated in conversation that he had tried to donate sperm before.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And I can't remember because back then I didn't give a shit. I was like, okay, who cares? But I remember him saying that they said he was too old to donate sperm.
Stop.
Yeah. He was in his 30s or something when he tried to do it. And which like is crazy because men can like.
What was it? De Niro just had a baby at like how old?
Like, stop it, dude. That's crazy. My friend who works at the fertility clinic said that if it's someone that really, really wants it and they're like old men, they can put the man under, go into their nutsack if they're shooting blanks and like find one floating on the ball floor.
Oh my God.
Like it's like a fucking dead fish at the bottom of the ocean. Like and like revive it. Like I was like, what? Yeah, they can like
crazy.
Find. Anyway, nutsack.
See, all these things are possible. There's all these options.
Like it's never too late for you, man. God. So I knew he had talked about that. So I think I texted him and was like, I'm doing this thing. They want me to make embryos. Would you ever give me your jizz? And
was that the text?
Literally, that was the text. And he responded back without any hesitation, was like, absolutely, 100%. I tried to donate before and they wouldn't take it. This is best idea ever.
Oh my God, I love that.
And I was like, wait, bitch, like, think about it. I was like, I know I should just be like, great, I'll take it. But I'm like, fucking, you know what this means, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, literally, no, I don't care. I like 100%. I was like, do you want to ask your partner? Because he's been in a long-term partnership with his boyfriend. And I was like, don't you want to talk? And he was like, no. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Like, I was like, ask your parents. And
they were like, somebody.
Yeah, ask anybody. And he was like, okay, do you want it? I was like, all right, yes. So it was an immediate yes. We talked on the phone about it. I think a couple days later, because I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yes, I think it would be amazing. And I was like, do you want children? Because what I'm willing to do, he's in his 40s, is I said, I'm willing to let you have some if you want to. And then you'll skip all the process, all the money.
Egg donor.
Oh my God, the genetic testing. Like, you can just have some. And he went, I don't want any of yours. I don't want any of your fucking eggs.
You're like, thanks.
And I was like,
I want your sperm.
Hurtful. And he was like, no, I'm kidding. Of course. Like, that's really nice of you. But he's like, I'm pretty dead set. Unless I like fall down and really hit my head and decide I want kids, then I don't need any. But like, thank you for that option. Okay. And I was like, okay, well, I know you're saying that now, but in the paperwork, I was like, I think it would be great for us to have them as ours if you want. So that was my idea, right? Well, little did I know there is so much paperwork involved.
So much paperwork.
And your friend donating.
If this happens to you, or if this happens to Rob, if you die, if he dies.
If you both spontaneously combust at the same time in a magic potion, like, it was crazy. So I knew he was game. And the process for him was so fun. Like, it became reasons for us to go grab lunch and hang out. But like, he had to do all this blood work, make sure we didn't have the same genetic markers, which I ended up having.
We saw that.
One magical disorder. I guess it's called like a genetic anomaly or
abnormality, yeah.
Which is albinoism, which is amazing because I am 99% Irish and very pale. So with, those pundit squares you learn about in high school, we just had to make sure that he didn't have.
Now that makes sense to have learned that. Then it's like, why are we learning this? Dominant, recessive.
I'll never use this in my real life. Little did I know. But so he was all clear with his markers. So he was a match, I guess you could say. And then we had to go to the paperwork. So what we ended up deciding, and he was very adamant about, like, I don't want them, but if you're alive and I want them, I'll just ask you and you'll give me one. And I said, yeah, that's fine. And my sister, who is a couple years older than me, she is also single, independent woman, don't need no man, doesn't know if she wants to get married or not. She said that she would take them if I died and like potentially use them.
Oh, okay.
But also that if I die and they become hers, she knows to give them to Mikey if he wants them. Yeah. So like, our whole family loves and adores Mikey. They all know. Like, they would probably, if anything, push them on to be like, come on, do it. But also my sister is freezing her eggs.
I was just going to ask, like, okay, is your sister going to do it? Great.
So she's going to freeze her eggs because of me.
Don't you love that though? I've had so many friends. No, I've had so many friends because I've done it. It's like, I'm going to do it because
it's been a wave.
Yeah,
I've had like followers write in and stuff, and it's oh my God, it's amazing. So many
responses since
yes, and people are like, I never thought about this. I'm going to go get my eggs checked. I was like, at least just go get your fucking eggs
checked. And I think your story is so great because you are not totally decided, and it doesn't mean you can't look into this or you can't do it. And so maybe some of the women or your followers that were like on the fence,
who are like, I'm single, why would I care?
Right.
Like,
and they see you doing it and they're like, it's motivation, it's
all the
encouraging.
Reason why. Yeah. So the funny thing is my sister's going to do it.
That's great.
And she was like, I need a sperm donor. And I was like, Mikey. And so I was pushing this narrative, but my sister ultimately said she didn't think it would be fair that I live in LA with Mikey and, my kid would have Uncle Mikey around.
Yeah.
And then she lives in Florida. Oh. So she wouldn't. And she's like, I don't know. They would be half siblings on the other side of the country from each other.
She's gotta find her Mikey.
So she's got to find her Mikey, which has been so, let me tell you, swiping through sperm donors is like a dating app. I
bet.
She's
doing that now.
So she's doing sperm donor and it is so fun. She'll send me pictures and I'm like, absolutely the fuck not. Like, you can't see his teeth. Like, why wouldn't he smile? Or like
the straight judgment. This is more important than the dating. This is
exactly. So that's been a fun journey. But so we did all the paperwork and everything. And then of course, he came to give his deposit and I was totally fucking with him them the whole time.
I saw that. It's so funny. I love too, like, first, obviously the vulnerability, but second, like, just the humor around it, like, lightens it up a bit. And like, I think that's so great.
Like, we were like, you got any good gay porn in there? Like,
I think you timed it. You're like, how long is it going to take?
We were taking bets. And the crazy thing is, my lucky number is 17. I have it tattooed on me. It took him 17 minutes.
That's a good sign.
I was like, it was meant to be. So he gave his deposit. Of course, he had God come, or whatever they call it, super sperm, where everything looked great. No double-headed swimmers, upside down, backwards, double-tailed guys in there. So they're going to de-thaw it this weekend. And the whole process of like them melding it together is so crazy.
Do your retrieval and they're going to do it right away.
They're going to do it. It's 4 hours after, apparently, is when the egg is
that's new to me. So
juiced.
Obviously mine were frozen. We had to thaw them.
Yeah.
And then, so, oh my gosh, you'll know.
Like pretty instantly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we're actually making it part of, this is so inside baseball, but we're making it part of my live show, my podcast show, where when we invite guests up to play games, if they win, they get to name an embryo. And it can be anything you want.
Oh my God.
Anything you want. So like, we're making it a fun thing.
I love
like,
that.
Yeah. I just love the idea of like, you know, me and Mikey are both queer. So like, we don't really care about gender, but like, we hope one's gay. And like, we're naming them prior to like implantation or whatever. So, you know, I'm also doing all of this while like having a current partner.
Right.
Too.
So how's your partner feel about all this?
Yeah, I mean, he's also a lot younger than me. He is 26. Right. I am 33. And so this was like a whole new fucking world to him. He had never...
Well, like, as much as we don't know, men are like clueless.
He's a 26-year-old boy, as far as I'm concerned. And so he has been just like... an absolute, if anything, all of this process has been like total green flags with him, because he's like, time to take your meds, or like, do you want me to help with the shots? And he'll like rub my belly afterwards and be like, do you want a snack? Or like, you know, he's just so great. And like, at one point even he was like, should I consider like getting my sperm checked and like making sure I'm not like shooting blanks, or that everything's okay?
Well, I love too, because you're preserving all your options, because you'll have the 6 eggs.
My 6.
You'll have your embryos.
My embryos with Mikey. Like this 26-year-old who is an athlete that we call the athlete on my podcast. He's 6'5" with blue eyes.
That's some nice genetics.
It's some really good genetics. And even he was like, should I like throw my jizz in the ring and like make an embryo? And like, I think the thing of me being so non-traditional with like, you know, not totally believing in the institution of marriage and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm kind of like, yeah, why not? Like, you're cool, I'm cool. And let me tell you, sperm lawyers are like, they have to look at worst case scenario. Like they absolutely have to give you all the worst things that could ever happen if you're donating or making embryos with a friend.
Well, there's a whole, not just in terms of the decision before, like even after, like the custody of the embryos. One of the doctors,
support.
One of the doctors we had on, she said she has a whole, just like, she's like, I have the best lawyer if you ever want a lawyer on to talk about all this stuff.
Yeah. And like that cost, that's not cheap. And usually
None
like
of it's cheap.
the egg girly pays for the sperm donor, which I didn't know. I was like, bitch, pay your own bills. But like I did that. And so like, I'm down to just have options. And then like, who knows, maybe I will meet someone that I want to have a kid with the old fashioned way. And I have all these eggs and things. And then guess what? Everyone gets an egg. You get an egg. My best friend gets an egg. Everyone, like, I'm donating them to science. Who wants a fucking, like, I just love the idea that it's totally coming from a place of privilege, but also I love that could be something I could help someone else
pay it forward in some way. Even just talking about it is paying it forward. And I think just optionality is so huge. I think that was when I had my consult at 37, I walked out really overwhelmed and discouraged, because they give you all these numbers. And I don't think any of that is like, you should not listen to that because your journey is unique and whatever. But I almost thought about not doing it. Because I was just like, what the fuck is the point? Is this even worth it? It's so much. I didn't have the money at the time to do it. Like I put it on a credit card.
Wow.
Yeah. Because at that time there were really no options. Insurance wasn't really covering it yet. So I think my two options were like a no interest credit card or a financial medical loan. And so I chose the credit card option. And my deciding factor was like, I don't ever want to regret this.
Exactly.
I don't want to turn around at like and having done that has now given me the option to hopefully have a second and hoping everything goes well. And that was my biggest thing. It's like, I don't want to be without options. And I've seen women in that position and it's just devastating.
It's hard. It's really heartbreaking. And like that, it's even opened up my eyes to even like surrogacy potentially. Like maybe if I have a friend that couldn't have a kid, like I know now how emotional and intense it is. And like, if I could do that for someone, like shit, you know, if someone really wants it, it's the greatest gift and thing you could do for someone. And like, I know people would do it for me. And like, it's just opened up a whole new level of conversation between me and my friends. Me and my girlfriend group chats are like popping off now. Like we're always talking about egg or fertility things. You know, my friends are off getting married now. I'm so happy for them. I hope it goes well. But like just the idea of like women our age, our generation, millennials and Gen Zers are not having kids. They don't want to.
Yeah, or pushing it off or not at all. And all of it is just like normalizing all of it. But being informed enough to know or not be in a position where like, shit, I wish I knew that sooner. Because, I mean, I'm so happy to see like people like you and talking about it and like they have these platforms and just getting conversation out because before no one was talking about it. So then you're like...
shameful.
Yes, the shame.
I couldn't fucking believe the shame.
The way you feel about yourself. Like... Before all of this, I think the way you would feel, or not me too, like the way I felt about it for having to do this, I have to do this because I'm 37 and I'm not married and I'm in a relationship where we're not sure. You know, there's so much shame around it.
It was talking to the fertility experts. They said that most people do not tell their close loved ones that they're doing this, or like religion like is a factor and culture is a factor. And I just, maybe I'm in my liberal bubble, but I could not fucking imagine feeling like this was something to be ashamed about.
Or hide.
But
it's incredible though what happens, like you're saying with the group text, that once you start talking about it, I was like, yeah, me too. Or I froze, or I'm thinking about freezing. Or even if people have loss or miscarriage, it's like, me too, this has happened to me. And it's like, this stuff is happening. We have to talk about it. It's reality. This is like... Yeah. Like
the pure stats of like miscarriage or like vaginal health issues between women. Like I'm just like, holy shit, having a baby is a miracle.
It is.
Like
they sell it to you and they package it to you like, once you want to get pregnant, you'll get pregnant. And it's so easy. And it's all of this like this messaging of like, don't get pregnant, do all these things to make sure you don't get pregnant, as if it's so easy to get pregnant. So you just think like, okay, when I want to try, I'll stop the birth control, I'll do the thing and I'll be pregnant. But I think it's so much more of a normal journey to have a hard time getting pregnant than it is to get pregnant so easily.
Oh, 100%. And of course you always hear I got pregnant off the first time. Like,
which I did.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Right. But then like now look at your complex journey has been like such a beautifully written story because it is so different and it's not so storybook, right? Like everything means more, like the intense conversations you have to have. I'm like projecting obviously, but like it does open up your ability to feel and understand and relate and communicate with people in a way rather than everything just happening storybook, you know?
Yeah, nothing happens like storybook. Even getting pregnant, it was not storybook to get there. Sure. And I think like emotionally where I was at, I really couldn't have handled like, you know, getting my period every month and not being pregnant. So I feel really grateful. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's like nothing's storybook. Nothing's like, it's hard. Things are hard. Things don't pan out as we're told they're going to pan out. The vision doesn't look like we're sold. And I think just like normalizing that.
Totally.
You know, and so I think feeling like nothing is wrong with you. No. Like you're not behind.
No. It's like, that's why podcasts like this is so amazing and important because that's the biggest thing is that like, I want this process to also be more affordable and accessible.
100%.
And I don't know how to make that a reality.
We'll figure it out.
But like just seeing the science is so mind blowing and getting to watch like, you know, they have this new feature at PFCLA that's called, I don't know if you heard of it. It's called like Chloe or something.
No.
Where you can actually watch, they have like a literal webcam in your embryo station and you can watch your embryos grow.
Oh my God, that's cool.
Yeah. And so I'm like, we're living in the fucking future. We are the Jetsons.
Yeah, but what's really reassuring is that there are so many advances that have happened in a short amount of time. There is more coverage. There's so much advocacy now around coverage. So I really think that it's gonna go in a very good direction, continue to go in a good direction quickly. So I think that's really reassuring and really hopeful. I think we're gonna see more. We do already see more options, more coverage, more finance, whatever it is. I think I'm hopeful that we're moving in a very good direction.
Have you seen something I almost did before I met the person at the fertility clinic was a company that pays for your egg freezing if you donate half of your viable eggs?
Yes, I know exactly. I forget the name of the company.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Like stuff like that. I was like, yes, like I'm giddy for it because that's such
There's payment plans now. Yes. There's all these different options. So I think, again, putting all the information out there in the resources.
Sign up for a firm.
Yeah.
You know, pay a month to month. Like we got to get something. Who do we talk to? Who do we write to? Our senators? I don't know.
Well, thank you so much. Anything you want to share or say or offer?
No, I think this is so cool. I'm so glad you're doing this. Yeah, I can't wait to listen to all the stories.
Wishing you all the best in the next few days. Here, oh my God, no! Yes, I gotta get your number.
Oh my God, I literally just got
well, hopefully, if I can sign Rob up for another night with our son solo, I'll be at your show in New York.
I still want to know all about it.
Same. Thank you so much for being here. If you like the episodes that you're hearing and you want to hear more, please subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more incredible stories and tools.
When I froze my eggs at 37, I felt alone, I felt unsure, I felt confused and uncertain. And when you're considering such a big decision, feeling those ways do not feel good. So we have created a step-by-step guide to egg freezing so no one else has to feel that way. If you are considering egg freezing, if you're curious about what the process looks like or what you should be thinking about, then this guide is for you. We were really thoughtful in how we put it together. I think it's a great guide. I think it's really comprehensive and covers a lot of the things to be thinking about, to be considering, and maybe some things you didn't even realize you should be thinking about or considering. The goal is to not have anyone feel alone in this journey. So if you're thinking about this decision, sign up through our website, quiettheclock.com, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at quiettheclockpod. This is a very big decision, so I don't want anyone to feel alone in it. So if you're thinking about it, grab this guide, and you can also DM me with any questions. I'm here to support you through this decision and this journey.